Get money, yeah. Get money, yeah. Get money, yeah. Get money, yeah. This for my old school Chevy Compass Regal.
And welcome everybody to another live edition of First and Goal with me, your host, Jay in the UP, and now featuring our brand new co-host, Dave at Steak and Cheese. Say hello, Dave.
Evening, Packer family. What's going on?
Okay, man. We were on just the other night, and then we actually had a 59.5-minute conversation afterwards, and we should have taped it because there was some gold in there.
I know. It's like the lost tapes, like you said.
Oh God, I should have recorded it just so that we had lost files for later in the year or whatever. But it was some good stuff. But we're really gonna start.
I'm sure we'll have some future stuff.
Well, yeah. There's gonna be plenty of episodes coming up. But what we are gonna do right away today, just to put a bow on this, so we can get into what we really want to talk about and what everybody really wants to talk about, is the draft. But we have to put a bow on this Aaron Rodgers thing because there's been more comments and more things and more teammates, and we can't even get into it all, but we want to just touch on the big ones right away. But first of all, we want to get into our new segment at the beginning. We're going to try to give you a few tidbits of maybe some Packer information or just other NFL information that just might be going on out there. So you go ahead and shoot off anything you got, because I got a couple of things here, and we will get started with
news updates.
So right away we have Ty Montgomery signing a 1-year deal with the Jets. Cole Madison coming back from his year-long off of football at guard. That's big depth for the Packers. Former 5th-round pick that took a year off. Big deal. You got anything else for us, Dave?
Well, yeah, I was going to go off on the Ty thing. It's just amazing to me he still got a contract after how much he fumbled for Baltimore after getting traded away because he fumbled a kickoff return. So people are still throwing money at this guy for no reason.
Yeah. I don't know. I think the bigger one for me, the bigger giddy one, was the Cole Madison, because they were pretty high on him last year.
I was going to get to that when you did.
And we're not going to go into bringing up what it was about because he's already had to deal with it enough. But the dude went through some huge personal things in his life. Completely understandable why he wanted to walk away from football. And I am happier than heck that he is back, because I think in this new zone running scheme, he can find him a place to fit in right away.
Well, that's the thing. He was already talented, and they were already high on him as an organization. And the fact he can come in and play guard or tackle is really going to be really nice to have with Galaga there. And then you possibly have Billy Turner. They paid him a lot of money, but he needs to pan out. And either if it's the left guard, obviously if there has a problem, there have been injuries, he's there.
Well, yeah, and people forget Lane Taylor's going into a contract year, and I'm sorry, he's been solid but not impressive. He's not a TJ Lang or Josh Sitton where you just know they got to re-sign him. He's got to play well this year.
Always been.
Yeah, he's been solid. That's what I'm saying. I'm not picking on him. I'm just saying.
No. He's okay, but he's not good.
Right, and I would almost prefer that he maybe move to right guard this year and give Turner, Cole, or whoever else they bring in the draft a chance at left guard. What do you think?
That could possibly work. I mean, especially with having Turner and Madison there, man, you could have a guard battle in camp.
Well, I guess to me why I say moving him, because Turner was actually left guard, left tackle in Denver. And then he went and played a little right guard and right tackle, but he's a pure left tackle, left guard type, And so I just think him being that position, I think he's stronger there. I think his upside is, I would rather take a chance there, and we can always move Lane Taylor back if it doesn't work out. But I think Turner and Madison's upside is higher than just the solid player I see Lane Taylor as.
I think we're in a better position for our line than we were the past couple of years after Sitton and Lang leaving.
Yeah. Okay. Now, we're going to get into Aaron Rodgers had some things to say.
Oh, Jesus.
and Davante Adams had some things to say. So, first of all, this goes back to the other day on the ESPN 540, 94.5 ESPN Milwaukee with Wilde and Tausch. They're the ones that get all the credit for this stuff. This is where I got the audio from all this stuff via Twitter. But it's Rodgers making a comment about why, after 4 years, he finally has come out. So we'll listen to that.
I care deeply about my teammates, this city, this organization, and when people are taking shots like that, it's only, I'm reminded of an old George Carlin quote.
George Carlin, do we need to have the dump button ready?
He's talking about, this lion who's, kind of getting nipped at and just kind of laying there and not letting, just allowing this to happen, these hyenas. And then finally they've had enough. This lion's had enough. And he just smacks one of them down. I feel like as an organization, we take the high road all the time. And maybe because of that, we're an easier target, or I'm an easier target, or Mike was an easier target. It's tough to take the high road, especially when you have 6 shooters of information. And at some point, when you lie a few too many times or keep rolling out the same rhetoric, I think it's only natural that people are like, all right, enough's enough.
That is some strong words, man. Rolling out old George Carlin and referring to the press and the media and basically the players that are after him as a pack of hyenas, and that he's woken up a sleeping lion and now it's time to start smacking these guys down. I mean, again, if you can't get that Rocky feeling that gets you drive from this stuff going on, man, there's something dead about you in Packer Nation. I don't know.
Yeah, it's because of that Phoenix rise from the ashes feel to it.
Yeah, it's an interesting take and it kind of explains to us a lot why the stories have come out and been so easy because nobody has said anything, including him. But he makes a good point there about taking the high road will only work so long. Eventually, you have to come out and kind of jump in the mud, so to speak.
What's sad is it took 4 years for Rodgers to finally say something.
But you know what?
These guys were pecking at him for 4 years, and he finally just said, "Screw it." It took one time just to screw up their whole arguments.
No, I guess to me it almost goes against the narrative, and even I've said it enough too. I mean, I'll blame myself here as being part of that, agreeing or taking it, running with that narrative sometimes too. This long proves the complete opposite of him being thin-skinned. A thin-skinned person is Kevin Durant that has a burner account and goes after each individual person on Twitter, not sitting around for 4 years, like he said, knowing you got 6 shooters worth of information, quote unquote. And so that kind of goes to the opposite and also kind of kills that narrative that he's thin-skinned and overly sensitive, which again, I'll take credit here, or whatever, blame. I've said it myself too. I mean, so.
Yeah, and then actually, to go into the Davante Adams subject, what he said, man, my favorite thing of that whole thing was him saying only relevant people know what's going on, or people who've recently played, taking shots at Finley or Jennings because they haven't been relevant since 13 and 12.
Well, there you go. And because that, you made us a perfect live segue there, Dave. Perfect job. So we're going to listen to what Davante Adams had to say from his own mouth. Here we go, folks.
Davante, you've always shared a strong relationship with Aaron. Which been your reaction to the recent controversy and drama surrounding your quarterback?
I feel like I've made it pretty evident how I feel about it already, but Yeah, I mean, it's something that I'm really trying to put in the past at this point because it's nothing to even really continue to drag on. I think you've heard from all the people who are relevant at this point and actually matter, which are the people who play with him and played with him recently and had those good relationships with him. And I think that has been pretty uniform as far as how we feel about him. Great leader, guy that all the things, all the negative things that I've heard is I share none of those feelings with those guys. So nobody reached out to me, nobody reached out to James Jones. Nobody reached out to Jordy Nelson, Randall Cobb, any of these guys, that obviously had a good relationship with him. So I think if those people were interviewed about him, then the story would have been a lot different.
All right, there you go. That's what Devontae had to say. Now, just because we want to put a bow on this and not take too much time, we're already 11 minutes into the show. We want to spend the majority of the time on the draft. Here's what Aaron Rodgers was interviewed after their OT or at the OTAs and stuff, kind of outside the locker room or outside his locker or whatever. And this kind of puts a bow. This is, if he had anything else to say, it's not really it, but he's reiterating that he's standing by it. So here's what Rodgers had to say at OTAs.
And what's this last, since the article came out, what's this last week and a half been like for you realistically? Given a fresh start and what we all heard this week in virtually 2 hours of interviews with that guy right there and the ESPN Milwaukee.
Well, first of all, I stand by everything I said. I just kind of want to refer to that as far as any other comments go. I said it on the show, and I meant it. It has been a great week. I've heard from, 100 plus former teammates and coaches and current teammates and coaches, and that's fun, especially some of the guys you haven't heard from in a while, checking in and encouraging you. So that's great. I mean, this game is all about relationships. And it's about, when their time comes or your time comes, find a ways to keep in touch and get together. And as we've seen on this team, it's been a lot of change over the years with personnel and guys who play a big role for us. Randall Cobb is gone this year. We've lost a number of great players, obviously Clay Matthews and Nick Perry, and guys who've gotten close to over the years. So change is part of the business, but it's fun hearing from those guys. One thing I was curious what your opinion on.
All right, there you go. There's the Rodgers comments at OTA, just kind of reiterating that he stands by what he said, and he's not retracting or regretting anything that he came out and said, which I wouldn't expect him to. I think, as we just spoke earlier, after 4 years, this was obviously a well thought out and measured thing that was, done.
Oh, especially after the smoking guns he had.
Right. Okay, so that kind of puts a bow on that. I mean, we've talked a lot about it. There's been a lot out there, but for those that might not have heard those or been able to play them, we wanted to make sure that they got to kind of end this thing. I don't, regardless of what else we're going to hear nationally, I think as Packer Nation, we need to collectively boycott and ignore it because it's a bunch of bull crap. It's a bunch of hatred rhetoric just to get clicks and TV ratings, and we need to stop buying into it because that's the only thing that they seem to get us to react on is negativity.
100% agreed on that.
So, the draft. The draft!
Oh, 2 weeks away.
Yes. Okay. What do you got for us, bud? We
went ahead as a podcast today and put out a survey and tried to put out the best top 4 pairs for picks 12 and 30 and what people thought or what they wanted for the Packers to get. We had 32 votes within 8 hours, which I say is pretty good. Only having jumping up 60 followers today. Thank you for the 5 followers. But, man, it kind of surprised me. I voted defensive line and wideout, but the thing that took the survey was defensive line or edge and tight end.
See, and I voted offensive and defensive line.
Yeah, I saw that jumped up. That came in second.
Which, to me, I guess I kind of consider the defensive line the outside linebackers in the 3-4, so that's why I voted
that's why I put edge, because there's so many people that can play defensive end or edge this year in the draft.
Right. It's a lot of versatility here. So everybody thinks that the tight end just boggles me because I think the tight end is a better pick at 44 than it is at 30. I just think
Oh, yeah, especially with the depth here.
Yeah. I mean, Irv Smith Jr., Steinbrenner, I think there's a lot of – I think that